that, ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in history when the winds shift, the earth beneath our feet trembles, that, and the world watches with bated breath. This is one of those moments. Imagine two leaders standing oceans apart, that, yet connected by a shared understanding that power is not simply held. It is seized, shaped, and wielded with unshakable conviction. That a historic turning point is not simply a date on the calendar, nor is it an isolated event that passes without leaving a mark. That it is a moment when the current of history changes direction, when the familiar order is disrupted and a new path is forged. That such moments are rare, and they often come quietly before revealing their full significance. That they are the junctures where choices made by a few alter the destiny of many, sometimes for generations to come. In the realm of global politics, that a historic turning point can be triggered by bold decisions, unexpected alliances, or dramatic confrontations that shift the balance of power. That these are not just symbolic acts, but actions with tangible consequences that ripple outward, reshaping relationships between nations, that altering economies and redefining the meaning of influence. That what makes a turning point historic is not only its immediate impact, but the way it redefines what is possible. It challenges established norms and disrupts complacency and forces the world to rethink its assumptions. Often, that the leaders at the center of such a moment are not merely reacting to events. They are intentionally steering them, that sometimes at great personal or political risk. Their actions are often met with skepticism, resistance, and criticism. Yet over time, that the clarity of hindsight reveals the magnitude of their vision. That a historic turning point becomes part of the collective memory of societies because it reshapes identity and direction. For citizens, that it may inspire a renewed sense of purpose or awaken a deeper awareness of their place in a changing world. For adversaries, that it may serve as a stark warning that the landscape they once knew is no longer the same. History teaches that such moments are not accidental, that they emerge from a convergence of timing, opportunity, and the courage to act when the stakes are high. Sometimes they are born from crisis, that when leaders are forced to confront unprecedented challenges, and sometimes from ambition, when a vision for the future demands immediate action. That what follows a historic turning point is rarely predictable, but it is almost always irreversible. That the decisions made during these moments become anchors in the narrative of history, referenced and debated for decades to come. That they may spark new eras of cooperation or fuel long-standing rivalries, but they never leave the world unchanged. That the weight of such moments lies in their ability to redefine the rules of engagement, setting new precedents for how power is used and how leadership is judged. When a historic turning point arrives, that it demands not just participation, but awareness. That because it is in recognizing these moments that societies can understand the scale of transformation unfolding before them. That it is the instant when yesterday's truths no longer hold the same certainty and tomorrow's possibilities expand beyond imagination. That decisive leadership is the ability to make firm, clear, and timely decisions. That, especially in moments when uncertainty and pressure are at their peak. That it is not simply about taking action, but about taking the right action with conviction. That understanding that hesitation can be as costly as making the wrong move. That leaders who demonstrate decisiveness do not wait for perfect conditions or absolute certainty. Instead, they assess the situation. That gather the necessary information and commit to a course of action that aligns with their vision and objectives. That This quality is vital because leadership often operates in environments where time is limited, stakes are high, and outcomes are unpredictable. That in such moments, the ability to act without being paralyzed by doubt is what separates effective leaders from those who falter. That decisive leadership is rooted in clarity of purpose. Leaders who possess this quality know what they stand for, understand their priorities, and are willing to accept the consequences of their choices. This clarity allows them to inspire confidence in others because people are naturally drawn to those who appear certain and purposeful in their actions. Decisiveness also involves the courage to take responsibility even when decisions are unpopular or risky. It means standing firm in the face of criticism, resisting the temptation to constantly change direction to appease others, and maintaining focus on the ultimate goal. However, decisiveness is not about recklessness or stubbornness. It is about balancing speed with sound judgment. True, decisive leaders are able to adapt when new information emerges, but they do so without appearing indecisive. They make choices based on a blend of experience, intuition, and factual analysis, understanding that no decision comes with a guarantee of success. The impact of decisive leadership extends beyond the individual making the choices. It sets the tone for the entire team or nation, fostering a culture of confidence, unity, and forward momentum. When followers see their leader making bold, well-considered decisions, they are more likely to act with commitment and energy, trusting that their efforts are part of a coherent plan. In the broader context of global politics, decisive leadership can alter the course of history, shaping alliances, deterring adversaries, and creating opportunities that might otherwise have been missed. It can project strength on the international stage and reassure allies that are backed by someone who knows where they are going. Ultimately, decisive leadership is a blend of vision, courage, and responsibility. It is the willingness to act when others hesitate, the readiness to embrace both the risks and rewards of those actions, and the determination to see them through to the end. It is a defining trait of those who leave a lasting mark on history, not because they always chose perfectly but because they chose with purpose and stood by their decisions when it mattered most. The global ripple effect refers to the far-reaching consequences of a single action or decision that extend well beyond its original context or location, influencing nations, economies, societies, and even cultures across the world. In today's interconnected era, the choices made by one leader, that government or organization can set off a chain reaction that travels across borders at unprecedented speed. This phenomenon is driven by the reality that politics, trade, technology, and communication have bound nations together in a tightly woven web. Where movement in one strand inevitably affects the rest, when a major power takes a decisive step, whether in diplomacy, economic policy, or military strategy, it often triggers a series of responses from other nations. These responses may take the form of alliances strengthening, rivalries intensifying, markets fluctuating, or social movements gaining momentum. The ripple effect can be intentional, as in the case of a strategic move designed to influence global opinion or shift the balance of power, or unintentional, when the consequences unfold in ways that were unforeseen. What makes the global ripple effect so powerful is its compounding nature, an initial action can influence the decision making of multiple countries, which then produce their own ripple effects, magnifying the original impact many times over. This is why leaders are urged to consider not only the immediate outcomes of their choices, but also the second and third order effects. that a trade agreement between two nations, for example, might seem limited in scope, but it could spark competitive deals elsewhere that reshape supply chains or alter the economic fortunes of distant countries. In matters of conflict or security, that a single military action can set off a wave of geopolitical adjustments, leading to new alliances, defensive measures, or shifts in military spending across the globe. The global ripple effect is also evident in public opinion and cultural trends. A speech, policy, or symbolic gesture made in one part of the world can inspire protests, reforms, or cultural shifts in another, that as people draw inspiration or warning from events far beyond their own borders. In the age of digital communication, this process happens almost instantly, with news and reactions spreading within minutes, amplifying both intended messages and unintended consequences. The power of the ripple effect lies in its ability to reshape narratives, redefine priorities, and redirect the course of events in ways that cannot always be controlled by the originator. For this reason, nations and leaders who understand the mechanics of the global ripple effect wield a significant advantage. They recognize that the world is a stage where every action is both a statement and a spark, and they use this understanding to strategically influence the global order. It is a reminder that no action exists in isolation, and that in the interconnected theater of modern geopolitics, even a single move can send waves across oceans, touching shores far beyond the point of origin. Vision and willpower together form the driving force behind transformative leadership and lasting achievement. Vision is the ability to see beyond the present, to imagine a future that does not yet exist, and to chart a path toward it. It requires clarity of purpose, creativity, and the capacity to identify possibilities where others see only limitations. Willpower, on the other hand, is the relentless determination to pursue that vision despite obstacles, opposition, and uncertainty. While vision provides the destination, willpower fuels the journey. Ensuring that ideas are not left as dreams, but are turned into reality through consistent effort and perseverance. A leader with vision alone may inspire others momentarily, but without willpower, that inspiration fades when challenges arise. Conversely, willpower without vision risks becoming aimless determination, pushing forward without a clear sense of direction. The true power comes when both qualities are united, when the leader knows exactly where they want to go and refuses to be deterred by setbacks, criticism, or the sheer weight of the task ahead. Vision allows a leader to anticipate challenges and opportunities before they emerge, to adapt strategies in a way that keeps the ultimate goal in focus. It gives meaning to every action taken along the way, uniting people under a shared purpose. Willpower ensures that this purpose is not abandoned when the road becomes steep, when resources are scarce, or when the pressure to compromise grows intense. History is filled with examples of individuals who combined vision and willpower to alter the course of nations and industries. They often face moments when giving up would be easier, when circumstances seem immovable, yet their belief in the future they envision compels them to take the next step. This combination inspires followers, because people are drawn to leaders who not only dream boldly, but also demonstrate the discipline and resilience to see those dreams through. In the context of global leadership, vision and willpower can reshape international relations, drive technological revolutions, or spark social movements that transcend borders. They enable leaders to act not just for immediate gain, but for long-term transformation, often making decisions whose true value is only recognized years later, Willpower keeps the vision alive through storms, delays, and failures, that turning potential into progress. It is a shield against doubt and a force that pushes beyond what seems possible. Together, that vision and willpower remind us that meaningful change is never accidental. It is the result of intentional thought paired with unwavering resolve. That the leaders who possess both leave a legacy not because they faced no resistance, but because they kept moving forward when resistance was all around them. That they are proof that, with a clear picture of the future and the inner strength to keep advancing toward it, that even the most improbable goals can be achieved. Unapologetic courage is the kind of bravery that stands firm without seeking approval, validation, or permission from others. It is the refusal to dilute convictions or soften actions simply to avoid discomfort, criticism, or controversy. That this form of courage is deeply rooted in self-belief and clarity of purpose, allowing a person to move forward even when the world questions, doubts, or condemns them. It is not reckless defiance, but rather a conscious choice to act in alignment with one's principles, fully aware of the risks, yet unwilling to compromise on what is right or necessary. In leadership, unapologetic courage often means making decisions that others are afraid to make, stepping into uncharted territory without hesitation, and accepting the weight of the consequences. It is the difference between waiting for consensus and creating it, between following the safe path and carving a new one. Leaders who embody this quality do not waste time justifying every move to appease critics. Instead, they focus on the mission, understanding that true progress rarely comes without resistance. This kind of courage is most visible in moments of crisis or high stakes, when fear and uncertainty grip everyone else. While others look for reasons to delay or retreat, those with unapologetic courage step forward, setting an example that emboldens those around them. They know that appeasing everyone is impossible, and that leadership built on constant approval will crumble under pressure. Unapologetic courage also means owning one's actions without excuses. When mistakes happen, as they inevitably do, these individuals accept responsibility, learn from the experience, and move forward with the same determination. This accountability reinforces their credibility, even among those who may disagree with their choices. Such courage is not only about confronting external opposition, it is also about facing the internal voices of doubt and fear that can paralyze action. It requires mental strength to silence self-doubt and remain steadfast when the path ahead is unclear. In the global arena, unapologetic courage can change the trajectory of nations, alter alliances, and inspire movements. It sends a signal to the world that leadership will not be dictated by intimidation or manipulation. This fortitude resonates with allies and adversaries alike, often earning respect even from opponents. In personal terms, it inspires trust and loyalty because people are drawn to those who refuse to bend under pressure. Ultimately, unapologetic courage is about living and leading without compromise to core values, no matter how fierce the opposition or how great the cost. It is the inner fire that turns conviction into action, transforming bold ideas into realities and ensuring that the course chosen is followed through to the end, not because it is easy, but because it is right. Legacy of boldness is the enduring mark left by those who dared to act with extraordinary courage and conviction. Shaping events in ways that outlast their own time. It is built by individuals whose choices go beyond the ordinary, who are willing to take risks that others avoid, and who refuse to be confined by the limits of convention. Such a legacy is not the result of chance, but of deliberate, That decisive action that changes the course of history or leaves a profound imprint on society. That boldness in this sense is not reckless impulsivity, but a calculated willingness to push boundaries and challenge the status quo. That those who create a legacy of boldness often face significant opposition, criticism, or doubt in the moment. That yet their actions resonate long after the immediate struggles are over. This is because bold decisions tend to redefine what is possible, that inspiring others to think and act beyond their perceived limits. That a leader who leaves such a legacy is remembered not only for the outcomes they achieved, but for the spirit with which they approached challenges. That the boldness they demonstrated becomes a standard for future generations. That a reminder that progress often requires stepping into the unknown with determination and clarity of purpose. In politics, business, art, that, or social change, a legacy of boldness can open doors for others, creating pathways that were previously unimaginable. That it can transform a nation's trajectory, spark movements that cross borders, or shift cultural mindsets in ways that are felt for decades. That the true measure of such a legacy lies in its ripple effect, how it empowers others to act with similar courage and conviction. That even when the original bold act is met with resistance or controversy, history often looks back on it with appreciation. That recognizing that without such audacity, pivotal breakthroughs would not have occurred. The legacy also serves as a beacon in times of uncertainty. That showing that fear and hesitation need not dictate the future. That it reminds people that moments of hesitation are often the moments where boldness can make the most difference. That this enduring influence extends beyond direct followers or contemporaries, that it reaches people who may never have known the individual personally, but who are nonetheless touched by the opportunities created through their actions. That, over time, the legacy of boldness can become intertwined with a community's or a nation's identity, that shaping how it sees itself and what it aspires to achieve. It becomes a source of pride and a call to action, urging others to continue the work. That to challenge the impossible and to embrace risk when the cause is just. That those who leave such a legacy are not remembered merely for the positions they held or the titles they carried, but for the undeniable fact that they were unafraid to lead when the stakes were high and the outcome uncertain. That they prove that the greatest impact is made not by those who play it safe, but by those who step forward with conviction, that fully aware that their actions will echo far beyond their own lifetime.